welcome to the second series.
Hello, ma'am.
On labor guidelines, the new WHO labor guidelines 2020. These guidelines are very, very important because as we were discussing, it makes the pregnancy safe for the mother and it gives a positive pregnancy experience not only to the patient but also to the family members. And on top of it, if we follow these guidelines in our protocol, definitely it will save us from lot of legal litigation. And as madam keeps saying, gynecologist ko sabse zyada litigation. We need to save ourselves as well as benefit our patients also. So last time we had 2 beautiful lectures, and today we have a galaxy of experts, and it's my pleasure to invite and welcome all of them. To start with, we have Dr. Sharda Jain with us, Dr. Renu, Dr. Mani, Dr. Mrilanani Mani, Dr. Anita Rajoria, Dr. Meenakshi Sharma, Dr. Jyoti Bhaskar, and Dr. Rupam Arora. I can see all of them, I suppose. Dr. Mani, I cannot see Dr. Mani. I think she will join soon. And to invite the first speaker, may I request Dr. Anita to please welcome officially Dr. Divya to speak on intrapartum monitoring. Dr. Anita?
Thank you, Dr. Jyoti. It's a proud privilege for me to introduce Dr. Divya Pandey, who is MS, FIC, MCH, FICOG. She is Associate Professor, Department of OBGYN at VMMC and Safdarjung Hospital. She has been Joint Secretary, NARCHI, Delhi 2018-20. And at present, she is member of Safe Motherhood Committee 2019 to 21 of AOGD. She has won many awards, Foxy Image Science Award, Infertility, Shanti Yadav Infertility Award, Korean Award, etc. And she has got many traveling fellowships also, ART fellowship, and she has many publications, more than 77 publications to her credit. And
Madam, please unmute yourself. Madam, please unmute.
Yes, yes.
To get an insight into intrapartum care for a positive childbirth experience, let us now hear Dr. Divya Pandey about the newer guidelines which have been given by WHO in 2018. Over to you, dear Divya.
Thank you so much, Anita ma'am, for those kind words of introduction. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Sharda Jain ma'am for giving me this forum to address all the learned obstetricians of Delhi Gynae Forum and in front of all these experts. Let me just start with these new labor monitoring guidelines, and I will be summarizing my talk with the need, what is the need of labor monitoring. I will be touching the historical perspective of labor progress monitoring, the part what is the recent research on labor progress. Then I'll be touching the WHO latest recommendations, and then we will be exploring labor monitoring by the use of next generation partograph, that is labor care guide, which all of you now know about. So what is the need of labor monitoring? If we see more than 1/3 of the maternal deaths, more than 50% of stillbirths, and around a quarter of neonatal deaths are because of labor complications. And if you see them closely, they are all largely preventable by timely interventions. So improving the quality of care around the time of birth will be the most impactful strategy compared to antenatal and postnatal care strategies. So let us go back to the basics. I am just starting with this famous curve given by Emanuel Friedman in 1954. It was first published in American Journal of Obs and Gynae 1954. And the story behind this Friedman curve is very interesting. This fellow, he wanted leave from labor room to attend a family function. He was not allowed to go. And what he did, he just plotted the current status of the cervical dilatation of the patients who were in his labor room. And then he went back and then came back, and again he followed the same patients, and he noticed that they were all following a pattern. The laborers have pattern. He decided to do study on 100 females, and then he came after that study on 100 primary parents women. He came with this famous curve of his, which all of us have studied in our textbooks. It has a latent phase, it has acceleration phase, then the stage of maximum slope, then deceleration. Everybody knows about this sigmoid Friedman curve. If you see here, 1 minute. If you see this table which he gave, if you see the 5th percentile in nulliparous and multiparous women, I hope you are able to see my cursor. 1.2 centimeter per hour. He gave the 5th percentile as maximum dilatation rate for nulliparous, the lowest percentile, 5th percentile, and for multiparous he gave 1.5 centimeter per hour. So according to him, this was the 5th percentile. But later on, all the future studies, they refuted this dilatation rate, because the females were actually dilating much slower than this. So after this, in 1972, these obstetricians, Philpott and Castell, they were from Zimbabwe, Africa, and they gave the concept of alert line. Actually, in Africa, there is a midwifery system, and most of the patients, pregnant, laboring patients, they are handled by the midwives at local centers, and they wanted something to differentiate between these normal laboring patients from abnormal patients, so that they can be timely referred to the tertiary center. So then they came up with this concept of alert line, which was the slope of which was 1 centimeter per hour. And this alert line was further incorporated in the photographs. WHO Safe Motherhood Initiative in 1987, after this, WHO came with 3 different types of photographs. This was the first photograph which came in 1994, WHO composite photograph. And if you see it closely, it had a latent phase of 8 hours. Here the active phase was starting from 3 centimeter. Then there was an alert line which had a slope of 1 centimeter per hour, and then action line 4 hours to the right of the alert line. But later on, when this photograph was used, it was seen that the likelihood of interventions were increasing in view of prolonged latent phase. People were interfering much more and early in view of this prolonged latent phase. So later on, WHO just dropped this latent phase, WHO modified photograph. Here the active phase started from 4 centimeter, alert and action line remained the same. Other features were almost the same as the composite photograph, and this is the one which most of us know and most of us are following right now. Then they made it much simpler by giving color coding, and the concept was same. They just gave a color coding. To the left of the alert line, the color coding was green, representing the normal progress. On the right side of the alert line, the color was red. It was indicative of a slow progress, and it indicated dangerously slow progress. So action need to be taken. And then the area between alert and action line was colored amber, indicating greater vigilance, need of greater vigilance. But most of us now, we are following this modified photograph. Then there were meta-analysis and reviews, and then this Cochrane reviewed. It said that there is a requirement to establish the efficacy of photograph, and there's need to establish an optimum design of the photograph. Then in 2010, this path-changing paper of Zhang came in 2010. So he gave the contemporary patterns of spontaneous labor with normal neonatal output. And he conducted this study on 65,000 women at 19 different centers in United States. So if you compare it with Emanuel Friedman curve, which was just based on few hundreds of patients, this study was more robust. Though it was retrospective, but it was done on 65,000 laboring women. And he completely refuted the Friedman findings. If you see this curve, On the left side, you can see the classical Friedman labor curve with the latent phase, acceleration phase, phase of maximum slope and deceleration. On the right side, if you see, this is the table from the paper of Zhang. If you see the second column, this is nulliparous. The last column is for multiparous. If you see these figures, the one in parenthesis is 95th centile. So from 4 to 5 centimeter, if you see here, the nulliparous women were taking around 6.4 hours, and from 5 to 6 centimeter, they were taking around 3.2 hours. So if you combine, if you note these 95th centile, the duration of time to dilate from 4 to 6 centimeter was almost 10 hours. And similarly, even in multis, parity 1, again 7.3, 3.4, these were the 95th centile, and if you add them, it comes out to be 10 hours. So duration of time to dilate from 4 to 6 hours was coming almost 10 hours, both in nulli and multiparous. So what we were thinking earlier, that active phase is starting from 4 centimeter was not the, it was the 6 centimeter, they were taking such long time. So it was not in cohesion with the findings of Friedman. Then curve he gave, where you can clearly see 6 centimeter as the inflection point. And before this 6 centimeter, the labor progresses slowly. 4 to 6 centimeters, it is quite slow. And just at 6 centimeter, which is the inflection point, the curve goes up. It becomes steeper with the increasing parity of the women. In other words, the women were taking much more time from 4 to 6 centimeter to dilate. So he clearly challenged the Friedman labor curve. And he recommended that active phase should start from 6 centimeter rather than 4 centimeter. And this recommendation by Zhang was incorporated in American College ACOG guidelines in 2014. Here they clearly say cervical dilatation of 6 centimeter should be considered the threshold for active phase of most women in labor. Now, with these partograms, they were being introduced by WHO. Simultaneously, the world was witnessing rise in cesarean section rate, both at global and regional level. In the last 25 years, if you see the curve, it is going high all across the world. Even in India, if you see the last National Family Health Survey, the rates have more than doubled. If you see the data from Delhi, we have more than doubled. It's around 23.7 in 2015-16. Even our Safdarjung cesarean rate, it has gone to 26% in 2019. Although we are receiving all kind of referral and high risk cases. So in other words, the cesarean rates are going quite high. Now WHO got concerned over this increasing cesarean rate, and they did systematic reviews and appraisals of all the available classifications of cesarean section, and then they came with Robson 10 group classification system, and they concluded that it is the best to fulfill local and international needs and should be practiced at all the centers. And they released this implementation manual in 2017. If we see what is Robson 10 group classification system, it is a very simple classification, though it looks some cumbersome. It is based on 5 basic obstetric characteristics that are routinely collected at all the obstetric centers. And these characteristics are parity, onset of labor, whether it is spontaneous, induced, gestational age, whether it is preterm or term gestational age, then the presentation of the fetus, number of fetuses. So these basic points can be, they can be collected even by the junior most staff, junior most person, and even an intern can, classify the patient in Robson according to this Robson classification. I would just like to draw your attention to group 1 and group 2. Group 1 is nulliparous women with singleton pregnancy, term pregnancy, who are in spontaneous labor. And group 2 is nulliparous women with term pregnancy cephalic presentation, where the labor has been induced or where the cesarean section has been done pre-labor. And group 5 is the group of the multiparous women who had a previous uterine scar or previous cesarean. So why I am drawing your attention to these three particular groups? Because study, my screen is not moving. Am I audible? You are audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So when Robson he did study, he could find that these three groups, the group 1, 2, which were primary women, and group 5, which were previous cesarean women, they contributed to around 67% of overall cesarean section rates. And then many studies came up which showed that these three were the major contributory group for cesarean section rate. Even we did a study on 81,000 deliveries at Safdarjung Hospital, and here also we at our center also the largest contribution was by group 5, that is the previous cesarean group, followed by group 2 and group 1. Now, when we dissected, if we dissect this primary cesarean delivery, what are the major indications for primary cesarean delivery? This is again a table from a paper from Zhang only. It came in 2011. If you look at closely, you will find that first stage arrest, it constituted around 15 to 30% of indications of primary cesarean. Second stage arrest contributed to around 25% of primary cesarean delivery. And so in other words, if we can manage our labors in a better way, we can cut down these figures, because around 50% they were related to management of labor. So careful labor monitoring is the need of hour to cut on these rising figures of cesarean section. Now, with all this background, WHO came up with this intrapartum care model in 2018, and they gave recommendations on intrapartum care of a positive childbirth experience. And it focused on care of all healthy pregnant women, and the essential, the main points of this WHO intrapartum care model were respectful maternal care, then emotional support from a companion of choice. There should be effective communication with the patient.
Picture आना बंद हो गई.
Can you see my slides, ma'am?
Yes, yes. दिख रही हैं.
Yes, yes.
So apart from this, maternal nutrition and maternal hydration should be taken care of. She should have her birth position of choice. So in all, they were focusing, it was a patient-oriented model, and they wanted to make the process of labor and childbirth a positive experience for the women. And regarding the progress of first stage of labor, these guidelines are clearly refuting the earlier 1 centimeter per hour alert line which we used to have in our partograms. They are clearly saying that this threshold of 1 centimeter per hour is inaccurate to identify women at risk of adverse birth outcomes, and a slower than 1 centimeter per hour cervical dilatation rate should not be a routine indication for intervention. And the labor may not naturally accelerate till 5 centimeters. So use of medical interventions to accelerate labor before this threshold. In latent phase, use of medical interventions to accelerate labor is not recommended if maternal-fetal conditions are reassuring. So this was the major change which they have brought. And apart from this, they have stressed upon respectful maternity care. We have to maintain the dignity, privacy, and confidentiality. We are trying to do that at our government institute because we have a lot of patient in terms of number, but we have sensitized our residents, our staff now, and you can clearly see a change, major change at our government institutes. So respectful maternity care is what is we are stressing upon. Then there should be effective communication and informed consent, which I think all of us practice. And then companionship is one thing which they are stressing. And who can be the companion? It can be anybody from spouse, partner, relative, or community healthcare chosen by the woman. And it's her right. He can even opt not to have a companion. So it is all dependent on the wish of the woman, whether to have companion or not. About routine assessment of fetal well-being, it is clearly recommended that routine CTG is not to be used for assessment of fetal well-being on labor admission or during labor in healthy pregnant women undergoing spontaneous labor. So it is for a healthy pregnant woman, not the high risk. And intermittent auscultation of fetal heart rate with handheld Doppler ultrasound device or fetal stethoscope is recommended. So intermittent auscultation is good enough in low risk patient. And how often it should be done? So we have made it every 30 minutes at our center, 30 minutes in active first stage of labor and every 5 minutes in second stage of labor. The duration should last for at least 1 minute. It should be during a uterine contraction and for at least 30 seconds thereafter. And the recording should be done, you record the baseline as single counted number in beats per minute, and you can record the acceleration or deceleration. So about progress of labor, as I already discussed, latent phase, in the latent phase, the labor may not naturally accelerate till threshold of 5 centimeters. So use of medical interventions like use of oxytocin or use of amniotomy or early amniotomy with early oxytocin augmentation, these are not recommended in latent phase, but the point is, provided the fetal and maternal conditions are reassuring. So as long as mother and fetal conditions, they are reassuring, there is no need to augment. So there is no upper limit for latent phase as per these guidelines, as long as maternal-fetal condition is reassuring. For second stage, they say before diagnosing second stage arrest, if the conditions, maternal-fetal conditions permit, you can allow at least 2 hours of pushing in multiparous women and at least 3 hours of pushing in nulliparous women in absence of epidural. And third stage, it has not changed much. They still stress upon active management of third stage of labor. So third stage management is same as earlier, delayed cord clamping, use of routine uterotonics and controlled contraction. Now about progress of the first stage of labor, WHO 2018 guidelines, they clearly say that there is insufficient evidence to support the use of Partograph alert line as a classifier to detect women at risk of adverse birth outcomes. So the alert line of 1 centimeter per hour, which we were using in previous Partograph, now they say there is insufficient evidence to support its use. So there was a need of new Partograph design as per these recommendations. So after 2018 recommendations, they came up with this WHO Labor Care Guide in December 2020. And the major changes which they made were, we have already discussed, latent phase is starting, there is no upper limit to latent phase. And here the active phase is starting from 5 centimeter. And second important thing, they have also covered second stage monitoring in this new labor care guide. So if you see the structure of the WHO labor care guide, it has 7 sections. Actually, I have, because it is not clear, so I have made it in 3 slides. So you can see there are 7 sections. Section 1 is about the particulars of the patient. Then the second row is about the time, and every box corresponds to 1 hour. And they have given 12 hours time. And they say clearly, if the 12 hours time is exceeded, you can add another labor care guide. Now, second section is supportive care, which is new, which was not earlier. So supportive care section they have added. Section 3 is on baby monitoring, fetal monitoring. Section 4 is about the vitals of the women. Section 5 is about labor progress. Section 6 is on medication, and then section 7 is shared decision making. Now you can see a very important change they have made. They have taken away those alert and action lines. In spite of that, they have given a alert column. If you see this third column, which is red boxed, so this is, they have given alert parameters for each and every observation which we will be making in labor for a patient. And these, on seeing these alert parameters, we can take action accordingly. So basically, this is action-oriented labor care guide. So emphasis here is on action-oriented labor, which is assess, record, check, plan approach. How you have to assess the well-being of the women and the progress of labor and about the fetal well-being. Then you have to record it on this labor care guide. Then you have to check what needs to be checked. You have to check the alert. It has to be actually compare the labor observations with the reference values in the alert column. So you have to compare your observation with these alert values. If there is any alerting value, you have to proceed accordingly. And then according to what you have recorded, and after checking the reference threshold, you have to plan whether she needs any interventions. And this should be this is called a shared decision making. That means you are planning her labor and discussing the things with the women in labor as well as her companion, if there is any companion. So it has to be shared decision making. So this is the major, these are the major changes which they have made. Alert parameters, second stage monitoring, there is no alert and action line. And the aims of this labor care guide were to guide the monitoring and documentation, to offer supportive care, to identify and address the emerging labor complications, and preventing unnecessary use of interventions, and of course supporting audit and quality improvement. So for whom these labor care guides should be used? They say it is essential for the care of all pregnant women regardless of their risk status. Though primarily it has been designed for care of apparently healthy pregnant women and their babies, but they say high risk women, even in high risk women, we can use labor care guide with some changes, and it may require additional and specialized monitoring. So right now at Safdarjung Hospital, we have started labor care guide use, but right now we are using it only on the low risk healthy pregnant women. So, and how should you start the documentation? When should the labor care guide be initiated? As soon as the woman enters the active phase of the first stage of labor, that is 5 centimeter or more cervical dilatation, regardless of her parity and membrane status, we should start the labor care guide. And once initiated, it will support continuous monitoring throughout the first stage as well as second stage of active labor. So when the woman is coming to you, you make the first observations, and then subsequently you can have further assessment and record them. So at the time of admission, you can fill one column, then subsequently for all observations, horizontal time axis and a vertical reference value axis. For the rest is completed following subsequent assessments throughout the labor. And there is a horizontal, as I have already discussed, there is a horizontal time axis and vertical reference values axis. So you have to be, aware about these alert parameters for every observation, and you have to proceed accordingly. Section 3 is about care of the baby, and section 5 is labor progress, which I'll be taking in slight detail because this is a major change which they have made. And if you see here, in front of cervical dilatation, in front of every centimeter of dilatation after 5 centimeter, they have given a alert value. So this lag time which they have given as alert parameters is you have to trigger alert when the lag time for current cervical dilatation is exceeding this alert parameter without any progress. Suppose a patient is stuck at 5 centimeter for more than 6 hours, or at 6 centimeter more than 5 hours, so you should be alerted. So if you watch it closely, they are giving much more time. At 5 centimeter, they are allowing 6 hours of time. 6 centimeter, they are allowing 5 hours, and so on. So they have given this alert column in front of every cervical dilatation centimeter after 5 centimeter. So previously, with the previous partograms, they have given the labor disorders. They classified as protracted and arrest disorders. This time, though, with this labor care guide, they have not given any kind of definition or these kind of disorders. So we have tried to kind of make our own definitions, and we say the active phase is said to be protracted if the lag time is exceeding the alert value they have given for corresponding centimeter of dilatation. So if she is in protracted active phase, the management remains the same. You have to rule out CPD. You can augment the labor according to her uterine contraction, go for amniotomy. So management remains same, but when to interfere, this has they have given a much more broader time period. Then active phase arrest is arrest of active phase is said when the cervical dilatation is more than 5 centimeter, membranes have been ruptured, but there is no cervical change as per the labor care guide despite adequate contractions. That means if you see this patient is stuck at 5 centimeter, she is having good uterine contractions, 3 in 10 minutes, good intensity, but she remains at 5 centimeter for more than 6 hours, suppose 7 hours. So you can label her as active phase arrest and then can interfere. Or if you have given her oxytocin administration for more than 6 hours, but she's not having adequate contractions in spite of the maximum dose 32 MIU per minute of oxytocin, and there is no cervical change, even then you can label her as active phase arrest and then you can interfere. And finally, this shared decision making, which I have already discussed, it aims to facilitate communication with the woman and her companion. And whatever you are observing, you are having a parameter, you are observing her parameters, she should be clearly told about the current situations, and then you can go for a decision making, keeping her and her companion in loop. So this is shared decision making. So this is example of a full-filled labor care guide. If you see it closely, the alert parameters, wherever the observation is falling in alert category, they have just encircled it. And by encircling, you can just, by a glance of it, you can know that this part is here we need to do something. This is alerting parameter, and then you can take action. So initially it may look cumbersome, but it is not. So how to introduce this WHO labor care guide into labor wards? What are the strategies to implement? Simply disseminating, recommendations will not ensure their successful adoption. There are many barriers in it, like in any labor room with high number of patient load, like our setting, or there may be reluctance from the side of the practitioners. They might not be able to get comforted with this new labor care guide. So there will be many barriers for introduction. So we have to go for certain strategies to implement it. And what are those strategies? We have to go for review and adaptation. We can critically review the labor care guide as per our own setup, and then make necessary changes and make it adaptable to all. Then, like at Safdarjung Hospital, we had a series of whole January we held meetings with senior faculty members, and we tried to make it adaptable to our center. We tried to incorporate certain changes, and then we decided the whole protocol, how we will go about. Then second point is leadership and training, because no single person can implement this new labor care guide. It has to be a teamwork. So we have decided a team. We have our own, this March month, we have a complete dedicated team in our labor room we have 2 labor rooms actually. We have implemented this labor care guide in one of our labor room, and in other labor room we are still following the previous partogram. And we will be ultimately we will be comparing the results of the two. So in one labor room team, we have completely trained them, all the residents, even the staff nurses. I was holding many training sessions for them for last 2-3 weeks. So they have been trained now, and we have option of in our proforma we are getting their feedbacks also, where they are finding any abnormality or problem in implementation. So we are getting kind of feedback from them also, so that we can improve in future, because we have just started and we are getting good results. And then there should be this teamwork. It should be teamwork in completing the labor care guide. It should not happen that one shift they have started the labor care guide and then another team comes, they take over and they are not following it. So it has to be a teamwork, and moreover it will be useful in handing over between the shifts, and our target should be universal implementation to get the best out of it. And finally, monitoring and evaluation. And there should be a monitoring system, and we should evaluate indicators like neonatal outcome and cesarean section rates. So as far as in the patients in whom we have kind of labor care guide where we have implemented, abhi tak to we have not done any cesarean section, so probably in future also, but the abhi amount is very less, so it is too early to come to any conclusion. But yes, it is we are getting good results, initial good results with labor care guide implementation. Moreover, one thing also we are getting feedback from our residents. We initially for first 5-6 cases they were telling it is difficult to go about this labor care guide, but after they have done 6-7 cases, their difficulty level has come down, and now they are saying some of them they are taking at moderate level of difficulty, and some of them have got adjusted and they are in the proforma, they are taking at like easy implementation. So they are getting acquainted to this labor care guide, and they are now becoming comfortable with use of each labor care guide with each patient. So to conclude, the stress should be now on respectful maternity care, and our aim should be to make a labor or childbirth experience as a positive experience for the women, which WHO wants. Then for latent phase, the duration is not defined yet. Expectant management in latent phase should be followed till maternal status is reassuring. Active phase is starting now from 5 centimeter, and labor care guide, which is the next generation partograph, can replace WHO partograph after modifications as per local settings after appropriate research. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I think it has been a new concept. I'm hearing this talk the third time. And I think, it will take little time for everybody to swallow that, there's something from uneffaced or, partly effaced cervix to 5 centimeter dilatation.
Yeah.
You have to just, just have a cup of tea and that's it. Don't work.
Yeah.
And that's what we have. And I find, since the time I've come into practice is that for me, there is no induction of labor.
Absolutely.
As far as the maternal and fetal conditions are such that, you can avoid induction of labor. Somehow induction of labor is catchy.
Yes.
Whole lot of problems starts with induction of labor. And I am an advocate that no induction of labor and spontaneous labor. And we find Dr. Rupam also here. She is also a very strong advocate that, no induction. So I think, it takes little time. If a person is admitted at 1 centimeter dilatation and, you have to just wait for 12 hours, I just want to know your experience about it. A person who is admitted at 1 centimeter and she's come from 20 kilometers away to be delivered in Safdarjung Hospital. How do you control yourself?
Ma'am, controlling myself is in my hands. It is very difficult to control the patient. Actually, the counseling of patient is very important because they become restless. They say, Doctor Sahab, kitna time lagega, kitne din aur rahenge. They are restless. I know my job. I will monitor her, but it is the difficult part is counseling of the patient. So what we are now doing, we have the companions are allowed. We are keeping the patient in our wards till 5 centimeter. We are not shifting them to the labor wards because in labor wards right now companionship in active phase we are not advocating because of the we have our labor rooms are small and crowded, so we are not allowing companions in active phase. But yes, in latent phase we have allowed the companions, and we are counseling them to have nutrition, and she can walk around. It is actually challenging, very challenging to manage.
Dr. Divya, I want to ask another question. Pain threshold of ladies in India is very low. So if you allow a companion, तो वो बोलेगा दर्द होगा तो फिर वो आपके पास भागा आएगा. क्या करते हो उसके लिए?
मैम हम लोग अभी तो we have started giving them paracetamol, and even in latent phase we are starting paracetamol 1 gram we are giving 4 to 6 hourly, and active phase also we are giving first paracetamol and second is tramadol 50 milligram. These are the two things which we are following as labor analgesia, and baki to it depends on the threshold. It is threshold of the
तो zero है ladies का हमारे यहाँ, और जेंटलमैन हो गया तो बिल्कुल ही जीरो हो जाएगा. I will. It's open to other experts.
Ma'am, you need a lot of counseling antenatally. हम तो इतना समझाते हैं सीताराम भारतीया में कि 3 सेंटीमीटर से पहले तो हम तुम्हें एडमिट करेंगे ही नहीं. If she comes from Noida to सीताराम भारतीया, I tell them you do a PV, check them out, maybe do a short CTG or just intermittent auscultation. Then I used to tell them promenade घूम के आओ, दोबारा मौका नहीं मिलेगा तुम्हें डिलीवरी के बाद, अभी बहुत टाइम तक. Go to the mall, and otherwise we don't keep them in the labor room. We tell them go to the room, stay there, watch a movie. You're not coming to the labor room till you're at least 3 centimeter or you're contracting regularly. And ये शुरू से हम उन्हें समझाते हैं कि अगर आप जल्दी आके एडमिट हो गई तो आप घंटे गिनने लग जाओगे और फिर सिजेरियन हो जाएगा.
ये वाला रूल बिल्कुल क्लियर होना चाहिए. जल्दी आओगे तो cesarean हो जाएगा, because the people itch to do something.
Exactly. And the other thing, I am so glad that ये WHO की guidelines आई. In fact, my thought process is completely in tune with this. It has always been no induction, mother and baby are healthy. Why do you want to poke your nose? No ARM, no oxytocin. Please keep. मतलब लोगों को मुश्किल ये है कि हाथ वो रखने ही नहीं, उनको बस को पेन ठोकते जाते हैं. I have never done that, ma'am. Believe me. And I've always had agreement with my fellow obstetricians. क्या जल्दी है, 2 घंटे बाद डिलीवरी हो जाएगी. So and actually that probably leads to a much more natural and normal labor and more normal delivery.
Yes.
And doctor, what about premature rupture?
Premature rupture में भी मैम 12 घंटे तो आप छोड़ ही सकते हो. Let her set into labor.
Done. Dr. Rupam Arora,
We are living for 24 hours.
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to highlight few words which she has mentioned time and again: positive childbirth experience, respectful maternity care, and shared decision making. Shared decision making means we are involving the laboring mother and her companion at each and every step. Whenever she has to be given all the options, and then we have to respect her option. She may decline the treatment, or she may change her, she may change her choice at any moment of time. She should know that she has got that right to change her decision. So that, that comes under respectful maternity care only. And because we have observed that this gives them a sense of personal achievement and control throughout involvement whenever they are involved for decision making during their labor. And regarding respectful maternity care, Divya has very well highlighted that we have to ensure the dignity of laboring mother, confidentiality and privacy has to be ensured at each and every moment of time. And she should be, not subject to any harm or mistreatment at any stage of labor. So
Dr.
these are-
Anita Rajoria, I find this is a play of Angrezi language. But a practicality वाली बात करो मुझे. मैं before I take up this particular issue, I will ask Dr. Rupa Maroda what is her policy. Dr. Rupa Maroda.
Ma'am, generally I also believe in spontaneous labor. So, but I am a big advocate of misoprost also, because whenever patient comes to labor, then we have to do something. Here finances, because we are in private practice na, finances are also a big this thing. Generally हम लोगों के packages होते हैं 2 दिन का 3 दिन का. Patient has to pay from her own pocket. TPS होते हैं, तो ज्यादा patient को हम लोग नहीं कर सकते. But yes,
Dr. Rupam, this is what you are. This is third lecture in a private sector is there that, we have had, this is the third presentation. आपको change तो करना ही पड़ेगा, डॉक्टर साहब. जब बोल रहा है, दुनिया बोल रही है कि कुछ हाथ नहीं लगाना, तो आप क्यों मिसोप्रोस्ट डालोगी?
नहीं मैम, you are very right.
I would like to add.
Can I just say something?
Yes, please. We want to get things sorted out.
मैम, रूपम अगर सिजेरियन होगा तो वैसे भी उसका पैकेज बढ़ जाएगा. तो ओवरऑल आप जितना इंटरवेंशन करते हो, व्हाट इज नॉट नेसेसरी, आई मीन, तो सिजेरियन सेक्शन रेट ऐसे ही जाते हैं ऊपर. तो अगर वो सिजेरियन होगा तो वैसे ही पैकेज बढ़ जाएगा उसका.
नहीं, वो तो ठीक है मैम, यू आर वेरी राइट. दैट्स व्हाई आई टोल्ड यू कि आई एम बिलीवर ऑफ स्पॉन्टेनियस लेबर. जनरली पेशेंट को जब एडमिट करा 5 सेंटीमीटर होगी, देन वी डू एक्टिवली. आफ्टर दैट
एक्टिव करना है, अपने आप चली जाएगी लेबर में. आप करके देखो, 2-3 घंटे से ज्यादा का फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. वो 8 की बजाय 10-11 बजे डिलीवर हो जाएगी. इससे ज्यादा कुछ नहीं फर्क.
और मिसोप्रोस्ट तो डालना ही डॉक्टर साहब, जब तक 5 सेंटीमीटर नहीं हो.
नहीं, शी से ही 5 के बाद.
5 के बाद
कौन डालता है मिसोप्रोस्ट, डॉक्टर साहब? ये सब गलत बोल रहे हैं.
नहीं मैम, एक्टिवली we manage. Then augmentation, we do augmentation of.
Ma'am, I would like to
this is what Dr. Renu Mishra and myself are trying to learn from Dr. Divya, that there is nothing like augmentation less than 5 centimeters.
Augmentation.
They have clearly said that oxytocin can be administered only at 5 centimeters, at or after 5 centimeters.
One more thing.
कोई इंडिकेशन तो होनी चाहिए.
Ma'am, I would like to add here is like we have been seeing birth companion वगैरह हम गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर में अब सब रख रहे हैं. We were keeping birth companions and in fact we found कि वो हेल्प करते हैं. अगर पेशेंट को काउंसलिंग है ज्यादा अच्छा, नॉर्मल डिलीवरी ज्यादा हुई थी और सिजेरियन रेट कम हो गए थे. एंड ड्यूरिंग कोविड टाइम हमने ये देखा, ऑफ कोर्स बर्थ कंपेनियन हमने बंद कर दिए थे क्योंकि जगह नहीं थी. कोविड टाइम से अभी नहीं अलाउ कर रहे हैं, लेकिन हम इंडक्शन जगह नहीं थी, पेशेंट्स को लेट एडमिट कर रहे थे, इंड्यूस नहीं कर रहे थे. और सिजेरियन रेट जो पहले 20-25 था, ड्रॉप डाउन टू 12% बिकॉज इंटरवेंशन कम हुई. इंटरवेंशन वर लेस. पोस्टडेटिज्म को हमने छोड़ा कि आपने उनकी मॉनिटरिंग करी, एनएसटी करा, कलर डॉपलर्स करे, सब कुछ देखा. एंड देन वी लेफ्ट देम एंड देन वी काउंसल देम, किक काउंट करिए, घर में रहिए, फोन से मॉनिटर भी कर रही थी हमारी एएनएम्स, एंड वी वर एबल टू रिड्यूस. तो अब यही प्रैक्टिस हम कंटिन्यू कर रहे हैं अपने हॉस्पिटल में. इंडक्शंस नहीं कर रहे हैं, प्लान लेट कर रहे हैं, ऑगमेंटेशंस नहीं कर रहे हैं, एंड ऑल बर्थ प्रैक्टिसेस गवर्नमेंट की तो जो हमें है उसके अंदर डूज एंड डोंट्स एलैबोरेट है, बट इट हैज रियली मेड अ डिफरेंस. Waiting and careful watch policy does make a difference.
Ultimately,
residents कम होते हैं. मैम, residents भी busy होते हैं, सेरन कम होता है तो residents are more available.
नहीं,
में घुसे रहते थे एक resident तो.
सबको मॉनिटर करना पड़ता है. जैसे ऑक्सीटोसिन लगाया आपने,
हम नहीं लगाते हैं. So we are not using since 2-3 years. No routine augmentations. We are not doing at all. And patients रखने से patient do deliver and their neonatal morbidity भी कम हो गई है. 6-year rates have also gone down.
I'm 41.
And this labor guide definitely is better.
One at a time.
This would be better.
I said,
just concluding. Sorry, Dr. Anita, just let me conclude. And we have seen, of course, ये labor guidelines को हम follow नहीं कर पाएंगे till we have guidelines from the government, because we cannot abruptly switch over to a new guideline. But definitely partograms में हम अभी हैं. I advocate my residents कि आप wait करिए. Partogram जा रहा है, कोई बात नहीं. As long as maternal and fetal parameters are fine, please wait. And we have been able to do control our cesarean rates that way, ma'am. Thank you. Dr. Anita, over to you.
yes, ma'am. I was saying waiting till 41 weeks really helps. we were unnecessarily doing intervention. If it is a low risk normal patient, then we can wait very well up to 41 weeks, and we should wait. We have been following this practice, and we have not increased our neonatal morbidity that way. So we can safely wait till 41 weeks.
Can I just
Dr.
ask
Jyoti Bhaskar, your comments? Dr. Jyoti Bhaskar.
Ma'am, I know we have two groups over here. We have a government group and we have a private sector. The things they're extremely
No. There is nothing like a private sector and the government. Renu Mishra is sitting and I am sitting here. We've seen the best of things. हर आदमी चाहता है आपके पेशेंट को सिजेरियन सेक्शन नहीं हो और उसका वो बच्चा लेकर जाए. ठीक है? So there's nothing like a government sector and a private sector.
Ma'am, but what we have to really work out as far as the private practice is concerned, there are two aspects I feel. One is the teamwork is very essential. If your patient is going to be in the labor in the latent phase plus 40 plus hours, then we need to have teamwork to be able to really bring this labor guide into function. And secondly, yes, Dr. Rupam rightly said we do have a constraint of time when the patient gets admitted. You have only 2 days or maximum 3 days after delivery, patient has to go home. That's what we need to work on, that the restrictions on us are not so strong by these TPA authorities. We need to really work on that to make it so that we are able to implement these particular guidelines. They're extremely good guidelines. We need to implement them.
Send her home in latent phase.
Yeah,
And
This is the main thing. We should.
When they come at 2 centimeters, we do it and
No need to
send them
admit.
back home, and we tell them when you are getting more stronger pains, then you come back to us. But somewhere we do, counseling is very important to send them back. But the type of patients, sometimes we do have a problem when we keep them in the ward and bring them only when they are, as you said, 3 to 4 centimeters, not before that. Definitely, but many times you have to admit the patient, depends upon the compulsion of the patient. So there are two constraints which you really need to work out. If you really work them out, then there's going to be no difference between the two sectors.
Dr. Jyoti,
I can see Dr. Raj Bukharia
would
here.
like to
Dr. Raj
have a
Bukharia, you want to
normal
make a
delivery.
comment? Dr. Raj Bukharia? Anybody wants to make a comment?
Ma'am.
Yes, Doctor.
I'm saying which government is telling us what partogram to use? I don't think there is a
Ma'am, in the
government
government
mandate.
sector, ma'am, yes,
Divya
ma'am. No,
Divya
ma'am,
has
there are
made it very
guidelines from
clear there's
Government
no
of India.
partogram before 5 centimeter.
No, I'm saying governments don't tell us
Yes,
which
ma'am.
partogram to use.
Ma'am, for the government sector, they are telling us what to use and they are giving us
Who is
case
telling?
sheet guidelines. The Government of India under the Lakshya program,
Yes.
for all the colleges, hospitals, government hospitals, we have guidelines which we have to follow. The do's and don'ts and all this Dr. Divya was speaking about, respectful maternity care. We are adopting all these since 2018. और लक्ष्य certification कराना है तो guidelines आई है, we have to follow them. Maybe medical colleges can afford, because they are medical colleges, they have thesis and they can afford to have trials. But hospitals which are non-teaching, we have to follow the Government of India guidelines and the
Doctor
guidelines
साहब, एक
given
बात
by the
बिल्कुल
state.
clear है. Government of India guidelines, then government hospital or a medical college. Everybody has to follow it.
Ma'am,
Has to follow.
See, I find, it is now the people who are practicing in a private sector. ये classes और ये जो presentation है 20 this year we are planning 20. So if you listen time and again, you're going to listen, then it should rub in your mind it is 5 centimeter, till 5 centimeter, no action.
Ma'am, this is a standard, WHO maternity case sheet which was sent to us for the following. We have made this maternity case sheet. It has got all the labor checklists also, for cesarean checklist also, all the consents are there. Then partogram, obviously this partogram is starting for 4 centimeters. We have still not included the 5 centimeter wala. But we are following this, we are filling this maternity case sheet. It's a whole booklet which we get printed.
Anita, I just want to ask you, ये जो booklet आप दिखा रही हो मुझको, how it reaches every gynecologist in a private sector. मुझे मत
We can share the ma'am prototype of this.
जो आपने मुझे दिखाया अभी आपको, how it can reach to, if you can give me a PDF file, I will see to it that it reaches everybody.
We have soft copy.
Ma'am, there's a PDF file.
We can change it according, you can type your own hospital name and modify it according to your requirements.
So what we do, Anita Rajoria, Mani and myself, we will post every day this to all our forum till the time the sick is enough.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Because,
ma'am.
I think if we need to change our things, we have to change our mindset. I find, majority of the cesarean section are
this
taking place
also-
up to 5 centimeter of dilatation. 5 centimeter हो गए तो हमें भी मालूम है
Ma'am,
इसको 2 घंटे दोगे तो डिलीवर हो
Yes.
जाएगी.
नहीं, we have to
Anybody
follow-
wants to
Ma'am,
make
these
last
patients
minute
also
comment?
have birth safety
Ma'am, we
guidelines
have
and
to follow the
everything.
guidelines. This is very much sure when it is from the WHO and Indian guidelines. We have to follow that. Either it is private practitioner or this. We have to come on consensus.
Thank you, Dr. Divya, for such an informative guidelines and a never-ending discussion.